Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. We got a big video today because it's been reported that Supergirl will appear in an upcoming DCEU film that's not Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. In fact, it's coming a lot sooner than that. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so as we all know, Supergirl just recently was in the Flash film. There was supposed to be a film with Sasha Calle that would come out after the Flash. That was actually in the script development phase, but since James Gunn took over, that Supergirl project has been scrapped, and we got Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That is coming in the next few years. We don't know exactly when it's coming out, but it's part of James Gunn's reported DCEU Chapter 1. Recently, we heard the report that there was a writer who has been put on board, and she's actually writing it right now. She wrote that previous version of the Supergirl film, but obviously now it's to do with the comic book Woman of Tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that, and I've been waiting for a while to hear some extra news in regards to castings. Obviously we can all theorize about who could potentially be Supergirl, what type of Supergirl is it going to be. Is it going to be more like Sasha's Supergirl? Is it going to be more like Melissa's? Could it be either one of those two? Of course there's still chances, but more likely than not it's going to be someone new. And so according to Daniel RPK, who is my friend and he is, the local scoopster on Twitter, he has actually basically reported in a scoop that Supergirl will appear in none other than Superman Legacy. Now that's something that I'm not shocked to hear, but also I'm kind of surprised. Like, of course take it with a grain of salt, plans can change and things can change, so don't expect Supergirl, but if she appears, that's because Daniel has been hearing about this. And so Superman Legacy, there is a lot of characters already. There's been so many castings. We've heard the Authority's going to be in it. We know that there's the normal Superman characters, Superman, Lois, Lex. You've got Jimmy Olsen, you've got people like Mr. Terrific, who I guess you wouldn't necessarily straight away when you see a Superman film be like, okay, let's cast Mr. Terrific early on. But you would think maybe Supergirl, because it would be a great film to introduce the DCU's version of Supergirl, to have a casting out there, to have something that people are going to be like, okay, I like Supergirl in Superman Legacy. And so obviously that builds hype for the Supergirl film, which is coming out later in the DCU's first chapter. So I am not entirely shocked, as I said before, but at the same time very, very excited to hear, and kind of a little bit surprised, I guess, to hear that they're actually looking to cast Supergirl for this film, and the fact that Supergirl is even in the film is obviously part of the news. But according to DCEU leaks, who I'm sure many of you guys are very familiar with on Reddit, so they're exclusively reporting, and again this is a scoop, this isn't anything like 100%, so again take it with a grain of salt because we don't know if this is going to happen or not, we don't know the ins and outs. But according to them, this will be a cameo in the film rather than a bigger role, like, how Supergirl was in the Flash film, right? She was one of the main characters of the film. So it's not going to be anything as big as that, according to them. So it's going to be a cameo. I guess you could say it's probably going to be a few minutes, maybe towards the end of the film, just to sort of tease and hype the DCU. Obviously, James Gunn is going to make a big deal out of Superman Legacy as the launching film of the DCU, so that means you're going to have cameos. I guess that's probably why you have so many characters to set up the Authority, to set up Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and then I would guess you're going to have like 2 post-credit scenes, maybe even 3 if they really want to stretch it, because they've got a lot to set up, and obviously everyone's going to be hyped for Superman Legacy because it's a big film, it's the first film, it's directed by James Gunn, and it's Superman at the end of the day. And so also DCEU leaks are reporting that they're looking for white actresses between 18 to 25, but ideally on the younger scale of that spectrum. So she won't be cast until a director joins Women of Tomorrow, according to them. So again, take it with a grain of salt, but I guess that makes sense, like a kind of young Supergirl, when David Corn Sweat is quite young himself. I don't know how old he's gonna be in the actual film, but it makes sense because normally Supergirl is, eventually when she gets to Earth, she is like Earth years wise, like actually younger than Superman, so it makes sense to have a younger Supergirl compared to Superman and the actor that's playing him on Earth, obviously, because in actual age Supergirl was born before Superman, but you know, that's just in the comics. And it makes sense that they're looking for a Caucasian actress because she is a family member, and David Corrin Sweat is actually, and obviously, her cousin. So, well, will be in the film because he's playing Superman. And so that kind of makes sense. Obviously, that's just whatever they want to do with the casting. Like, obviously, we don't have much say. But I'm looking forward to this, and there is a couple of rumors that I want to get into in terms of the castings. But for now, just before we move on, I just want to, you know, briefly give my thoughts. Like, I'm really excited for Supergirl and the DCEU. You guys know I'm a big Supergirl fan if you're a long-time follower of my channel. She is one of my favorite comic book characters, period, like, out of all comic books. I love her, and obviously I love the Supergirl show. That's really where my passion for Supergirl comes from. Same thing for like The Flash, for Arrow. It all comes from the TV shows. And so that's why I'm so looking forward to seeing some of those characters on the big screen, and I really do have faith in James Gunn and what he's building with the DCU. I think this is going to be something special, and obviously Supergirl is going to be a big part of that, and I hope she eventually joins the Justice League when they get round to doing Justice League, probably like 10 years down the line or so, when the DCU is like properly built up. And so this is just super exciting as like a launching point for Supergirl. I guess I see this in a similar way to like when The Flash, when Grant Gustin showed up on Arrow for the first time in his show. Obviously this is a Superman film, so the focus is on Superman, but by having a Supergirl cameo, you're kind of kick-starting things, and obviously that was what happened in that Arrow episode, and obviously everyone got super excited. Oh, Grant Gustin as the Flash, he's so good in this. Obviously you just saw him as Barry Allen, and then you saw the accident, and it's set up. It was like a backdoor pilot for the Flash, and so this is going to be almost like the film equivalent of a backdoor pilot, but for Supergirl's new film, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So super excited for this. Also, they add that Supergirl won't actually be cast until a director joins Woman of Tomorrow. We know there's a writer right now. I don't know what stage she's at, but when the director joins and when everything is done, that's when you're going to start to hear about castings. And if she is involved in Superman Legacy, you're going to hear about that sometime before March, because shooting is starting in March. I guess you could have it like midway through production if there is no Supergirl actually spotted on set. Like if it's just a cameo, she could just be in the studio filming rather than, you know, having a big presence and, you know, filming outside. And obviously there will be behind the scenes photos of that. Obviously I'm hoping for that, to just get a glimpse of her suit. But this is what we're hearing right now. And let's move on to the next rumor, and again, take this with a big grain of salt, but apparently we got like some sort of short list for actors who are going to be potentially playing Supergirl. This is coming from an account called Infinite Clone. I have never seen any kind of true rumors or castings from this account. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but I thought I would just mention it to you guys because obviously we do cover some rumors sometimes and some leaks. It could turn out to be true or not, but apparently these actresses, Angourie Rice and Dove Cameron, are on the short list for Supergirl, obviously to be played in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and potentially Superman Legacy. This has basically come out just yesterday from this account, just after Daniel released that information to do with Supergirl appearing in Superman Legacy apparently, and apparently Catherine Newton was also being eyed, or is being eyed, but ultimately probably won't happen due to her planned heavy future at Marvel Studios. Casting is hoped to be locked by January according to this account. It makes sense in terms of timeline, trying to lock it down if Supergirl is going to be appearing in Superman Legacy. That makes 100% sense. But in terms of the actors, yeah, they probably have a list, but I don't know how truthful it is as to, like, I think there's very little chance that they're probably casting right now. Like, I know we're heading up to the Christmas break, and if they want to get things locked up by January, maybe it makes sense to have a list. But in terms of castings, I would probably say it probably start in January if they are appearing in the Superman Legacy film, of course. If it was for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, of course, that would be much later, but if Supergirl is going to be showing up in that film, it makes sense. I actually really like the casting of Angourie Rice, especially if it's a younger Supergirl. She's only 22 right now, and we've seen her in the Marvel films, we've seen her in Spider-Man. She plays a really good role in that. Also, she's really funny when she was younger in The Nice Guys. I'm a big fan. She's a good actress. She kind of looks the part for Supergirl. I could see that happening. I don't see the Dove Cameron casting actually happening too much. Obviously, some of you guys might know her from Descendants. She's very popular in terms of that. She was also in Shameless and also Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So you got that Marvel connection there. She's a bit older. Not sure if she kind of looks like a Supergirl in my opinion. So I think Andrea Rice makes a lot of sense. Plus she's got a fan base from the MCU. So I think that would be actually quite a smart casting. Plus she's a great actor. Catherine Newton, that is an interesting one. I could see her playing Supergirl, but again, she's a big part of the MCU and potentially the future of the MCU, so I guess she could be busy, and that makes a lot of sense what they were actually saying here. But for now, I'm going to stick with, I think Andrea Rice is probably the best out of those three. I would definitely take her as Supergirl, and obviously I'm still hoping for Melissa to come back. That would be great, even if it was just like a cameo in a future film and she plays like an alternate Supergirl or any character, to be honest. Like, I would take any Arrowverse actor showing up, but obviously I'm a big fan of Melissa's Supergirl, so it would be great. But nevertheless, if they cast someone, I don't want them to cast someone huge, like in terms of acting status. I want them to cast someone like Andrea Rice, who, you know, is fairly known, but like doesn't stand out to you as like, oh, she's gonna be like the #1 lead actor in this film. You know, we don't want someone that is really, really well known. That's just my opinion. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. That pretty much does it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos if you're new around here. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.